So with that, let me tell you about some of the dysfunctional practices I hear about. Now, as many of you know, while I have 20 years of legal practice, for the past 10 years or so, as part of that practice, I have been conducting environmental scans, where I've been going to organizations, small and large, unionized and not, and I've been talking to entire teams that are struggling to try to get a sense of why they're struggling and put together a plan of rebuilding the communication amongst the team. So as part of the scan, I interview everybody, 45 minutes in the Marley Vault, go for it. Tell me what's working and what's not. And as a result of that, I am consistently faced with leadership practices that are seen as and felt as dysfunctional by the team members that fall short of bullying and harassment but still need to change. So let me tell you about some of these. One of the key issues is inconsistent application of policies and principles. So this is where the narrative or the story that is felt by a number of team members, by the way, is that for particular people on the team, we are going to go by the book. This is the way it is. This is what Camosun expects of you. This is what needs to be done. And in fact, as a lawyer, the leader would send me the policy. And then they would send me the narrative what that employee did. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I'd look at the policy. I'd look at all the evidence against the employee. And I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. Let's support holding them accountable. Not realizing that 3 or 4 or 5 people on the team do that on a regular basis, but aren't being held accountable for the same breaches of policies and procedures. Now, that does 2 things. First of all, it ruins the credibility of the leader as a leader, because the whole team sees that there's patchwork of adherence to policies and practices and procedures. So the credibility of the leader is questioned, but it also destroys the integrity of the team, because the individuals who are held to a rigid application of the policies end up resenting and turning against the people who are given an easier go of it. And we end up seeing a dysfunctional team. We're thinking, oh, that team, it's so dysfunctional. They're not getting along, such poor communication. They're not helping each other, not realizing that the underpinnings of that dysfunction are happening from the inconsistent treatment of that staff by the leaders who are overseeing them. So that's one example. Is that bullying and harassment? Not necessarily, and very rarely. Is it dysfunctional? Highly dysfunctional.